Well, folks, I'm kind of pissed off. And let me start this by saying that elections have consequences. Now, if you're not aware of it, the Supreme Court today, on a 5-4 vote, agreed with Donald Trump that he could institute a travel ban which basically targets Muslims. Now, this is Donald Trump's third cut at the travel ban. And the funny thing about it is that the 5 justices, all of them Republican nominated, decided that Donald Trump's prior statements, where he specifically said that he was going to ban all Muslims from entering our country, really didn't mean anything. And that basically, in my opinion, is a bunch of bullshit. Just last week, the Supreme Court invalidated a decision by the Supreme Court of Colorado because a low-level individual in their civil rights office made a disparaging comment about the religion of the baker who was suing to overturn a decision that he had to bake a cake for a gay couple. I mean, they had to dig so far down into the details of that case in order to find that particular statement that it would make deep sea divers nauseous. But at the same time, in this case, where Donald Trump's statements are plastered all over the place, you could not help but see his comments. You could not help but know where his mind and his heart was as far as banning Muslims was concerned, which is a direct affront to the Constitution, which does not make religion a litmus test for entering the country and citizenship. These 5 conservative justices chose to ignore all of that. So folks, elections have consequences. Now, I don't blame any of the people that voted for Donald Trump. I don't blame them whatsoever. The people that I blame for this debacle are in 2 groups. One group is a group of people who went for the bullshit, who went for the okey doke, and decided not to vote at all. Because in my opinion, if even half of those people had voted, we would not be in this situation right now. But the second person I blame, or second group, well, it's actually one person, is President Barack Obama. I blame him for this bullshit. And you say, why do I blame him? I mean, obviously he was pulling for Hillary Clinton and he was campaigning for her, etc., etc. No. President Obama's popularity, it was proven, did not translate over to candidates lower down on the ballot. And also, it didn't help that so many Democrats were afraid of him and afraid of his support and afraid of being associated with him, that they basically disavowed him when they were running back in 2010 and 2014. So that one is on them. Where I blame President Obama is specifically on the picture you see. And in the upper right corner, you see Associate Justice Gorsuch. Now you say, well, why am I talking about Gorsuch? Oh, and as a matter of fact, I remember the Republicans, they wouldn't even have a hearing for Merrick Garland, who was the nominee that President Obama had chosen. Well, there you have it, folks. That was the problem. President Obama trying to play nice, not showing any guts, lacking a pair of balls, decided that he was going to pick a nominee that was pretty much down the center. And I got to tell you, I looked at that guy's record and I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. But what he should have done was to get together with Hillary Clinton and come to a consensus choice on a black woman to be the first black woman to be on the Supreme Court. Now, if he had done that, all kinds of pressure would have been placed on that thief, and not even in the night, but in broad daylight, that thief, Mitch McConnell, who was able to block Merrick Garland because he was a white man. But now imagine what would have been said in the black and Hispanic communities. And I believe the Hispanics would have supported her because Obama put a Hispanic on the Supreme Court first. How would Mitch McConnell and his allies have been able to deny just a simple meeting with a black Supreme Court justice nominee who was a woman? All hell would have broken out. And with Clinton confirming that if elected, and these guys had blocked the nominee under Obama, that she was going to put that same nominee back up there, that without a doubt would have gotten her over the top. And in my opinion, they probably would have given a black woman at least the meetings, if not a vote. But that in itself would have been historic. And although 92% of black people basically voted for Clinton, a black woman being placed onto the Supreme Court would have probably ticked that puppy up another 2 or 3%, and that's all that she would have needed to get over the top. So folks, again, elections have consequences. Donald Trump got his Muslim ban. Donald Trump got his discrimination against gay people. Donald Trump now with the ability to block countries from emigrating into the United States unless they receive individual, and I'm talking about persons receive individual waivers, now can turn his eye towards Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, and even possibly Mexico. And all he has to do is mention the magic words. What are those two magic words? National security. The Supreme Court made a major mistake today in that vote. And Justice Sotomayor issued a scathing minority opinion to the decision that was made or issued today. And she was 100% right. The Supreme Court basically has bowed down to Donald Trump, just as the House of Representatives has, led by that feckless person, Paul Ryan, and by the turtle in the Senate, Mitch McConnell. Folks, elections have consequences, and we may have one of the most important elections coming up this November, even more important than a national election. What is at stake now is control of at least the House of Representatives. If we can get control of the House of Representatives snatched away from the Republicans, that, folks, would be a very good thing. If by some miracle, and I honestly believe that it would take a miracle, we can get control of the Senate, Donald Trump's days would be numbered, because I believe that they would institute immediate impeachment proceedings in the House and with control in the Senate, even though you need a 2/3 majority in the Senate in order to convict. I believe that they probably could get there. Only because they have another feckless individual waiting in the wings to take Trump's place, which is Mike Pence. So the Republicans in the Senate could take a holier-than-thou position and finally do what they know in their hearts they should have been doing all along, is condemn Donald Trump, because then they get their boy Mike Pence. But folks, we will see. We will see.